Karen, here we are again.
Here we are.
Another episode of Walking Between Shadows.
Yes.
So, you've been doing some research on a case that I have not been following. So, just give me an introduction. What is this case?
So, two missing moms from Kansas go over to Oklahoma for a visitation with one of the women's children, and they do not come back. So, I've been following this since March 30th.
So, disappeared. And you gave me an article to read about this. And so, I'm just going to do a quick brief on this episode and what it's about and who the players are.
Sure.
So, four suspected of murdering two Kansas moms, including grandma of missing woman's kids. And this report was released earlier today by the New York Post, and a couple others like News Nation contributed to it. Four people were arrested and charged in connection to the disappearance of two Kansas moms who were last seen driving through the Oklahoma Panhandle last month, including the grandmother of one of the women's children. Tad Burt Cullum, 43, Tiffany Michael Adams, 54, Cole Earl Twomby, 50, and Cora Twomby, 44, were taken into custody on Saturday, the Oklahoma State Bureau of Investigation announced. The four were suspected of kidnapping and murdering Veronica Butler, 27, and Jilian Kelley, 39, before they vanished on March the 30th. Now, that's the two women you were talking about.
That's right.
Okay. The two women were considered acquaintances as Kelley supervised Butler's visits with her children. The moms were traveling to Eva, Oklahoma to pick up Butler's children who have been living with their paternal grandfather, according to News Nation.
Grandmother or grandfather?
It says in here that it's the paternal grandfather.
I think it's the grandmother.
Okay.
But I'm not sure, but I believe it's Tiffany Adams.
Okay. All right. Well, so that's a relationship I want to ask you about in a minute.
Okay.
They were only reported missing when the car they were driving was found 1,000 feet off Oklahoma State Highway 95 and approximately 3 miles away from its destination. Again, this was all on March 30th.
Right.
All four suspects were charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder, 2 counts of kidnapping, and 1 count of conspiracy to commit murder in the first degree. They were later booked into the Texas County Jail. Adams is the grandmother of Butler's children, and Cullum is her boyfriend, according to News Nation. Cole and Cora Twomby have been in an 8-year relationship and are friends with Adams on Facebook. Several law enforcement agencies were at the properties in Cimarron and Texas counties on Saturday, including at Adams' home. One person was arrested in Cimarron County, while the other 3 were nabbed in Texas County. Butler and Kelley have yet to be found, as police suspected foul play was a factor in a role in the two's disappearances. So the 2 ladies that were disappeared have not been found, or nobody knows where they are.
No.
Okay.
No. They do not.
Separate puddles of blood were found outside the vehicle, along with splatters of blood inside, the outlet reported, citing different sources. Butler was in the middle of a bitter custody battle with the father of her children, seeking more visitation time as she sought full custody of the children. And I think that was her eventual plan, but that's not what's really going on right now.
No.
All right, so you'll give us more detail about that. Butler's pursuit of full custody created tension between her and Adams, the children's paternal grandmother, according to News Nation. Adams is said to have had custody of the children at the time of Butler's disappearance.
Right.
And so that's the story as it was reported this morning by the New York Post and News Nation. Okay. So these 2 women, well, let's talk about where they are.
Okay.
So this part of the world, now I've been there several times because I've had agricultural clients in the Panhandle of Oklahoma and Texas in the past.
Right.
I don't remember a lot about the main townships around there. So, I just was in and out. But it is absolutely desolate.
It is. There's nothing.
Yeah, it's flat as a pancake.
Oh, God. There's nothing going on there.
No, but dust and, I guess what they call dust devils, which are like wind tornadoes of dust. Or real tornadoes. I mean, I saw a tornado when I was working out in the Panhandle there. So,
right. there's a large amount of truckers that go through that area,
Mm-hmm.
and
Yeah, so we talked about that. This highway that they were found on was where truckers bypass like the scales and stuff, so they're avoiding,
right.
you know.
It's off the highway in like a dirt road.
Yeah.
I mean, it's in the middle of nowhere. The only
Yeah.
thing around this area would be the school
Mm-hmm.
that Veronica Butler and Jilian were to meet Tiffany Adams at, the grandmother,
Uh-huh.
to pick up the children. So I believe Veronica only got those kids on Saturdays with a supervisor,
Uh-huh.
and from like 8 a.m. till 5 p.m.
Well, before you get into details here, I still want people to understand the area.
Right.
So the high school that she attended there in, was it in Kansas?
No,
It was in
it
Oklahoma.
was in Oklahoma. And I want to say Eva. It's Eva, Oklahoma,
Uh-huh.
Texas County. Population in this town that Veronica Butler and Tiffany Adams are from is 270 something people.
Uh-huh.
Like nothing. And Veronica was the only senior in her graduating class. So that's how small the school is.
Well, I mean, she was valedictorian, salutatorian, and also the last person.
Most spirited, all of it.
Yeah, she got it all.
She got it all.
So this is a very, very small town.
Yes.
And I can only imagine, we come from what we consider a small town of about 4,400 people.
Right.
But in this case, man, you've got one or two families that rule the roost.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So it's that type of area. Like,
that's right.
There's a lot of "don't tread on me" flags flying.
Right.
Okay.
We're going to talk about this family a little bit too.
Sure. Okay, so I think we understand the area now, and there's just absolute nothingness.
Absolutely nothing. Veronica, I guess she grew up in that area and met the father of her two children that she was going to visit.
Mm-hmm.
These kids were a 6-year-old little girl and an 8-year-old little boy with a man by the name of Wrangler Rickman.
Jeans?
Wrangler Rickman, yes.
Wow.
Like jeans. His mother is Tiffany Adams.
Okay.
Wrangler and Veronica, I'm not sure when they separated, and I'm not sure if they were married. I don't know if they were ever married.
Yeah.
But they had these two children together, and some accusations went flying towards Veronica's brother. At the end of their relationship, Wrangler and Veronica's relationship, the accusations were of sexual abuse against Veronica's brother. That is why Veronica did not have custody of these kids at this time.
Okay. All right. Sorry. You got to clarify something for me.
Yes.
So Veronica, the mother of the children,
Right.
it was her brother that was accused of sexual misconduct of some sort.
Right.
Okay. All right. So it wasn't Wrangler's brother. It was the mom's brother.
It was Veronica's brother.
Right. Okay. I'm with you.
Right. Now it was said in court documents that Tiffany, Wrangler's mother, told Wrangler to make up a lot of lies so she would get custody of these kids.
Mm-hmm.
And Wrangler did state that he did make up a lot of things that were not true.
Mm-hmm.
Because his mother told him, if you do not do this, I'll blow your brains out.
Yeah. So this is the first time we get impetus that his mom was ruling over everybody.
Everyone.
Yeah.
So.
And you'll get into that more.
Oh yeah. I'm going to get into that more. So I'm not even sure, how much of these accusations were true and how much were just made up so that Tiffany could have control of these kids.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure even how long she's had them. But Veronica had remarried and was living in Kansas.
Mm-hmm.
Not
how far away?
I believe it was about 3 hours.
Yeah.
I think it was a 3-hour drive to visit the kids every Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
She had remarried, and Jilian Kelley was married to the pastor of the church that Veronica went to, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
And they linked up, and Jilian happened to be one of the approved supervisors that could go with Veronica to get her kids.
Yeah.
So that's why they were together. They weren't necessarily just the best of friends.
Yeah.
Actually got along fine, but they weren't just real tight. It was a business kind of situation with that.
So talk about Jillian for a second. Like, where did she stand in the community there?
Very highly in the
Uh-huh.
community. I mean, her husband was the pastor of the church, and she's a supervisor for, I guess it would be like Child Protective Services.
Yeah.
So, she's thought of as a well-respected lady in
Yeah.
town. She had children too, 39 years old,
Mm-hmm.
right in the good time of her life.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, they left that Saturday, and after not hearing from the two, Veronica's husband started looking for them.
Mm-hmm.
And he found their car on the side of the road.
Mm-hmm.
So the police take over. Okay. And the story is that they were going down and they were to meet at this Four Corners store. And I believe that was in Eva, Oklahoma.
Mm-hmm.
So they sat down there and they were to be there at 8 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
And this store is no cameras. It's no longer going. It used to be a restaurant. They sold beer on Sundays, which is something Kansas didn't do. So everybody would come from Kansas to Oklahoma.
So that's what made this store popular.
Right.
But it's out of business. There's nothing going on there now.
Nothing going on. No
Okay.
cameras, no nothing.
Mm-hmm.
So whether or not Veronica and Jillian showed up at that Four Corners store
Mm-hmm.
to meet the grandmother, we don't know. We don't know anything else except that their car was missing. I mean, they were missing, and their car was found 3 miles from that store. So, and on this dirt road off the highway.
Mm-hmm.
There was blood found inside the vehicle and around the vehicle, but their bodies they have not been found.
So you had an interesting story about what authorities did when they found the pools of blood around the vehicle.
So they're trying to keep, from my understanding, the FBI is involved. The Oklahoma State Bureau of Investigation is involved. So they're trying to keep this very quiet.
Mm-hmm.
So they can, none of the integrity of the case will be blown to shit because of the media.
Yeah.
But they did say that they covered up with dirt and dust from that dirt road. They covered up the blood so that media could not get pictures of that.
Yeah.
They don't want the family to just, everything is not solid right now.
Yeah. So authorities actually sampled it and did what they were supposed to as investigators, and then they just covered it up.
Right.
Okay.
So I want to talk a little bit about Wrangler Rickman and his mother, Tiffany Adams.
Mm-hmm.
I told you about how she had coerced him into talking and making up lies so she could get custody or he could get custody. So he actually had custody of the children when the separation began between Veronica and him. He had custody. He married someone last summer. So he married a lady last summer. And I mean, just like 2 or 3 months in, he gets charged with domestic violence and is violated his probation. So he is put into jail I think he stayed for like 30 days.
Oh, yeah.
And then he had to leave there. He got out on March the 22nd. So just a couple days before.
About 8 days before they just were reported missing.
8 days before they disappeared. His father claimed to pick him up from jail and take him directly to a rehab. And it has been confirmed that he did check into that rehab on the 22nd.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think there was only like an hour and a half time period that from jail to him checking in. So, yeah, on the 22nd. Now, Veronica, you talked about how she was going for custody. She had these supervised visitations every Saturday, and she wanted to step that up a little bit. She wasn't going for full custody just yet, but that was the end goal. And she had filed for this change in custody on the 20th of March.
Mm-hmm.
So they go missing on the 30th. And the change was that she would pick them up, I believe, like on Friday and keep them through Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess this Tiffany, the grandma, just wasn't having it. There's also Tiffany Adams stated in court documents that if, and I don't know who she told this to, I don't know, but if the custody went back to Veronica, then bodies were going to start hitting the floor. So that was her threat. She is supposedly very scary in this town.
Yeah, and that was recorded in the court proceedings.
That's right. This was all before they even went missing.
Yeah, it wasn't hearsay.
That's right. He lives on this compound, okay, with the two other. What did you say their names were? Cole and Cora,
Yes, Cole and Cora.
Is it Cole and Cora? And her boyfriend Tad. Colum, right? Colum.
It's weird like that, but yeah.
Right. So they all live on this compound, and they call themselves God's Misfits, and they consider themselves sovereign citizens. So they don't have to, a sovereign citizen believes they don't have to go by any laws. They don't have to do anything, basically.
Yeah. So let's correct something here.
Okay.
Cullum is Adam's boyfriend.
Right. That's the boyfriend.
The other two occupants were Cole and Cora Twoomby.
And they are married.
Yes.
Right. Like, I think they're both in their 40s.
Yes.
Okay. And Tiffany Adams and Tad, there was a 10-year difference between them two as well, right?
That's
he was
correct.
younger.
That's correct. Okay.
So they live out there on this compound, and I believe that they've done lots of things that have scared people in the town. I mean, there's only 200 and something people there. So these people are God's misfits. They're sovereign citizens, so they're doing whatever they want to. From my understanding, they have tons of traffic, tickets, and that they don't pay. They don't care.
Yeah.
They just don't abide by the laws.
Right.
I talked to a police officer years ago from Jackson, Tennessee, and he was talking about the sovereign citizens there and how corruptive they are, So, I mean, I guess that was a thing that they fear, in this town, because when the women went missing and a lot of media and reporters go down there to try to find out what's going on, they wouldn't talk about them. They wouldn't even say their names. So this was very...
That's why I say, I mean, this is clearly a case of, big fish in a small pond.
I also want to talk about that area being known for their industrial hog farms. And it has been rumored that on that compound with Tad and Tiffany and Cora and Cole.
Yeah, Cole.
That Cole owned 11 hogs. And there is rumor, of course, now that the reason the bodies have not been found is because they could have possibly been fed to these hogs. There's this this industrial hog farm that was close to the vehicle on that dirt road was very, very close. So, I mean, I don't know much about what pigs and hogs eat, but I think it's everything, right?
Yeah, they don't turn anything down.
Would there be evidence of that?
There's a slight chance there is, but hogs have, such prolific stomach acid that they can digest hair and teeth. Yeah.
I've heard this for many years, but it's horrifying to me. I mean, these women, they were probably, and if I had to come up with a theory, I would think they probably met at this store or at this school, wherever. Either one didn't have cameras. I believe now I've heard that they're going to put cameras up at that school. But either or, I mean, they're ambushed. And from my understanding, Jilian always carried a gun for protection. She had a carry permit, and, she brought that for protection. But
well, her husband did state to authorities that she had her peace with her that day.
So they just came up on her. Four, or even, not expecting it. You think you're going to pull up and get your kids, and Jillian's there just to supervise and make sure they're okay. And
Somebody walks up and shoots your ass.
Right. And you're just gone. I mean,
Yeah.
gone. It's been 2 weeks now.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Yep.
It's still no. I mean, there's some arrests, but if they made the arrests, did they? I've heard they confessed. Did they confess?
Well, but they've been charged with first-degree murder, kidnapping, and conspiracy to commit
Right.
first-degree murder. So
Right.
they wouldn't charge them with that unless they were absolutely certain they did it.
So are their bodies well hidden, or are they gone?
You know, honestly, Taryn, it may be a situation where it is such a horrific story that they know they're just not releasing that to the media.
And there's kids. I mean,
Yes.
there's kids and there's families that still haven't heard.
Yeah.
You know, and they still haven't found them yet. So, I mean,
Yeah.
what a mystery.
Anybody that's dead, you know, I couldn't imagine, first of all, something happening to you or one of the kids.
No.
But then to hear that you'd been fed to pigs.
God.
No.
And I don't even want to continue too much with that because we don't know that.
No, we don't know that, but that's what I'm saying. It could be something that horrific that they're just not telling it yet.
And what's going on with these grandmas? I mean, we did a week and a half ago about a grandma that did terrible things, killed her grandson.
Yeah, back at Christmas.
Right. And here we are. And it's like, these are women. I'm a grandmother. I cannot imagine hurting someone,
Mm-hmm.
you know, unless it was in protection of my family.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, to me, it's just, and Jilian was prepared for that.
Yeah.
So, what did they do? I mean, how did, you know,
I don't
just
know.
hope they get some answers soon. I mean, the family gets all the answers they need and we'll follow it.
Well, and, you know, it amazes me that, you know, in a small town like this where you've got somebody who's kind of like a mob boss, you know, or a cult leader, and something like this happens, how is there not scorched earth? I mean, at what point does somebody just lose it and stand up and burn the earth down?
Well, like, okay, so the son, Wrangler, beats the hell out of his wife. And she's vocal about it on her Facebook, and I don't know her name, and I wouldn't put it out there because that's her story.
Sure.
But you go to jail, you're on probation, and you go to jail for 30 days, and then you get out, and I mean, like, you admit that your mother, you know, told you that, threatened you, and if you didn't lie so you could get custody, then so you go into jail, and because you're reckless and don't give a shit and beat the hell out of your wife, and then your kids are just in the hands of the woman that's threatening to kill everybody if she doesn't get them.
Yeah. Well, and there's another story to the cult like depravity that goes on here is, you know, the guy that went into court with the grandmother
or went into jail to talk to the police, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this guy was the mayor of the town at one point. He was the, you know, county commissioner, the sheriff. No, he was the sheriff
And the chief of police.
and the chief of police. I mean, all of this.
And drug task force.
Yeah, after being convicted of a felony.
He got convicted of what?
Embezzlement.
And they voted him back in.
Yeah, and he's walking into court with
this woman.
Yeah. So that's what I mean. Like, there is some sort of just absolutely, you know, cult depravity, whatever. I mean, it's ridiculous.
Tad, Tiffany's boyfriend, grandma's boyfriend.
Yep.
I think it was like a year and a half ago. He's driving through town, pointing a gun at everybody. Just got his gun out, just pointing them, and you know. So he gets arrested. He gets released on bond immediately, and then the judge just dismisses it with no prejudices, nothing. No, you know, no, nothing. He didn't have to pay any restitution. There was nothing. He didn't have to do anything. So there you go. And there's another, and it just makes you wonder.
Yeah.
It makes you wonder what's going on in this downtown.
Yeah. Is there a family connection even in the political side of it or something? There's something weird going on
like,
here.
are they involved with the law somehow?
I mean, this is the Flatlands, Hatfield, and McCoys.
Yeah. Yes. I mean, and we'll find out more about this, you know, about Grandma and Grandma's compound and the gods Misfits, as they called themselves. So, yeah.
Well, very interesting case, and I bet there's some sick shit yet to be heard from it.
I do believe now the children are safe with with Veronica's father, so they are gone from that area completely. I don't know where they're at. Pretty far away, another state, and they're safe with Veronica's family.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, even their location is speculative at this point. Nobody really
and it
knows.
should be, and it should
Yeah.
be. They need to be protected at all costs, and it's going to be hard enough to do that with this horrific,
Yeah. The
huge story.
circumstances are awful.
Right.
Well, very interesting story. And we look forward to kind of developing this and seeing what's going on here.
Mhm.
As we know things or learn things, we'll release them. I want to say to everybody that we appreciate you watching and leaving comments for us. It
Yes.
keeps us coming back and doing what we love to do and being, if nothing else, entertaining for you all. So don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button and smash that notifications bell. That way you know when we launch new content. And we appreciate it. And we look to see you at the next episode.
Thank y'all.
Bye.
Bye.